da 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 da. Da 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 da. Da 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 da.
LF News. Welcome to LF News, the best news channel YouTube has to offer, brought to you by your anchorman, LaFinchy. Now, there are many ways how a simple road trip can go horribly wrong. Crashing into another vehicle, rearing off the road and into a ditch, or interacting with a driver from Quebec. There are many ways to mitigate these damages and such outcomes, but few are as effective as the one already built into most cars since the early 70s. Wearing your damn seatbelt while driving. Now, I know most of you do that already, but according to ABC Science, 4% of drivers in Australia don't wear a seatbelt, which conveniently make up a third of people that die in crashes. Now, some of you might just be like, oh, relax, that's not going to be me while I'm driving without a belt, trust me. Except it most likely will, because of how basic physics works. Go back to when you were in high school, specifically science class. Now, the 2% of you that actually paid attention in class might remember something called Newton's 3 laws of motion. Well, turns out all 3 laws play into effect in car crashes, including, yes, ones without seatbelts. I'll be using these to make my point. You have probably heard that if you don't wear your seatbelt in a crash, you could fly through the windshield, breaking in the process, and land completely outside of the car. Some of you may be like, that's dumb. There's no way that's actually true. It's just a thing the goofy government says to scare you. As absurd as it may seem, this statement is true. According to Newton's first law of motion, an object won't stop moving unless an outside force stops it. When you drive a car, your body moves at around the same pace as the car itself, since you can't no-clip through objects in real life. So when you suddenly stop, like in a crash, your body will keep moving at that speed until it is stopped by an external force like your seatbelt. But if you decided to be devious and you didn't wear your seatbelt in this scenario, there would be nothing to stop your continued motion. And the windshield isn't strong enough to withstand that much force from you, so out you go. And you will most likely land on a very unaccommodating surface like a metal pole, the pavement, Pennywise's doorstep, or right into a 100 Gex concert if you're really unlucky. This is almost always deadly according to the NHTSA, mainly from your head being KO'd from the force. After this, you might think you're smart and just cruise in the back seat where you won't fly through the windshield and eat the pavement. But unfortunately, facts and logic will annihilate you here so much too, Ben Shapiro might as well be sitting next to you. Because while Newton's first law still works in the back and you'll just fly into the front seat, another law comes into the picture. Newton's second law of motion states that the amount of force exerted is equal to how fast an object is going multiplied by how much matter it is composed of. Or, force equals mass times acceleration. So, let's say you weigh 85 kilograms, and your driver was being a naughty boy and driving at 120 kilometers an hour. According to the second law, if you crash and collide into the front seat, you would collide with a force of around 2,833 newtons. A paper in the Journal of Neurosurgery indicates that the human skull can only withstand 22,300 newtons before it breaks. With the amount of force being way over that number, your skull will probably turn into 17th century Germany, and you'll have a high likelihood of heavily damaging your brain and possibly dying. So you aren't safe from Newton here either. Not only does not wearing a seatbelt put you in danger from yourself, it also puts you in danger from other people. Now, Newton's third law of motion states that every action has an equal, but opposite, reaction. This means put a certain amount of force from an object in one direction, the same amount of force will be exerted in the opposite direction. Now, imagine you're on the road, and you pass by a Morgs fan. Now, the Morgs fan, being too young to drive, loses control of the vehicle and collides head-on with your car's side. Now, since there is little to no force being exerted west or east prior to this, and a large amount of force exerted eastward from the Morgs fan, your car would be pushed east from that force. Due to the sudden eastward motion of the vehicle and the absence of a seatbelt restricting your movement, your body would move in the opposite direction, i.e. westward, and collide into the car door, which, depending on how fast the Morgs fan collided into you, can lead to head trauma ranging from minor brain damage to your skull getting broken. According to the NHTSA, wearing a seatbelt at the front seat of your car reduces your chances of getting a head injury by 50%. Now, after hearing all of this, what should you do? At this point, it's become pretty obvious that you should start wearing your damn seatbelt now. And don't be that guy who only wears it around his hip, since that ain't going to save you. Wearing your seatbelt will prevent your body from colliding with the insides of the car and ensure that you don't get hurt. According to the Automotive Coalition of Traffic Safety, seatbelts have saved 180,000 Americans since 1975, around when seatbelts started being mandated in car manufacturing. So, in conclusion, wear your damn seatbelt. You'll get injured if you don't. LF News, out.